In the darkness of space near Earth, a shadow thickened, bringing with it the promise of chaos and destruction. The ship that carries the end, Black Frieza, tore through the cosmic mist with his ruthless presence, and the echoes of his cruelty returned to the memory of the inhabitants of Universe 7. Black Frieza, an even more terrible evolution of the tyrant humiliated by Goku on Namek, now emerged with supernatural powers even darker, and with the relentless hatred that drove him. He returned again, not just to humiliate the warriors who once knelt before his strength, but to execute a plan that surpasses all evil ever recorded. His gaze scorched distant stars, and every gesture of his seemed to seal the fate of entire worlds. Free from any mercy, Black Frieza prepared the full weight of his revenge, and Earth would be the stage of his final act against the forces of justice. Ready to witness up close Frieza's true plan? Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and activate the bell. Black Frieza smirked with scorn upon seeing Goku. Open quotes. "I thought you'd forgotten that promise of yours." Close quotes, he mocked, his voice sounding like icy thunder. "But I see your sense of honor is still greater than your intelligence." Goku remained calm, staring at the tyrant with a firm gaze. Frieza raised his hands and formed between them a pulsating mass of black energy, the result of forbidden studies in alternate realities and the absorption of fragments of power from ancient gods of destruction. When he revealed his intent to dethrone Beerus and become the supreme Hakushin, the purple aura trembled. Goku then raised a hand and let out a silver glow that spun like a halo, signaling the end of that night of chaos. As the echo of that speech lingered, Goku remembered every syllable exchanged during the Tournament of Power and the oath he had sealed. Conviction ignited in his chest like an immortal fire, dispelling all hesitation. He muttered, in a low and firm voice, "The only one capable of ending you is standing right in front of you." His silver aura flickered in strands of green, and thus began the true battle between the two, where everything there carried the fate of Universe 7 within. Only then would Frieza's end come. For the first time against an enemy, Goku would fight with everything right from the start, aware of the risks he carried in that moment. This was Frieza's end, but how all this will unfold, stay tuned until the end. Alright folks, after years of exile and secret training in the far reaches of the cosmos, Black Frieza had devised a bold plan, training for exactly 10 years in a room of spirit and time. His plan was nothing simple. It was simply to eliminate Beerus, the feared god of destruction, and usurp his divine throne. If he managed to bring down Beerus, he would obtain the crown of the Hakushins and, with it, unrestricted authority to annihilate any planets that dared to question his power. We know that in the Dragon Ball universe, the Hakushins, including Beerus, have total authority to destroy any planet or civilization they deem inconvenient or unnecessary. This function comes directly from cosmic balance. While the Kaioshins are responsible for the creation and maintenance of worlds, the Hakushins ensure that the universe doesn't become overcrowded or filled with planets that might threaten the development of universal order. Beerus, for instance, has already shown his destructive will several times, like erasing an entire planet simply because he didn't like the food served there. This power doesn't require permission or approval from higher entities. It is a prerogative of the Hakushins. However, there are practical and political limits. Some worlds may be protected by special forces like the Kaioshins or powerful warriors, and even Beerus follows some rules to avoid unnecessary conflict with other deities or universal orders. Frieza, in trying to become a Hakushin, seeks this blank check of destruction to act without restrictions, which makes his ambition even more dangerous. In his mind, ascending to the position of Hakushin would represent the fulfillment of an empire where not even the laws of existence would dare resist. He envisioned Earth in flames, his opponents surrendered and begging for mercy that would never come. Driven by calculated coldness, he traced his fatal route toward the planet of the Saiyans, certain that Beerus's arrogance would be the first obstacle to be crushed. While traversing the immensity of the universe, Black Frieza recalled every act of humiliation he inflicted on his adversaries. In the Namek episode, when his fury reached cosmic proportions and he wiped out the Jinyu Force, he remembered the macabre spectacle of a dark god, crushing militias and beliefs as easily as a breath. He had annihilated entire planets, turned enemies into atomic slaves, and left a trail of destruction without precedent. These memories fueled his confidence of invincibility. However, something subtle in the vastness of the cosmos hinted at an upcoming challenge, a silent threat he had yet to fully identify. Blinded by his own ego, the tyrant believed there was no force capable of stopping his ambition to ascend the divine throne. In contrast to Black Frieza's overwhelming arrogance, Goku continued his training routine at the Kaioshin Sanctuary, immersed in deep meditations under Whi's guidance. The angel god presented physical and mental challenges, inviting Goku to unlock unprecedented levels of Ultra Instinct. Vegeta, insisting on proving his worth, subjected himself to intensified gravity, while Broly unleashed his rage in berserker form, shattering central rocks of the temple with his maddened fists. It was in this environment of discipline and contained chaos that Goku perfected the inner serenity necessary to submit the body to the purest instincts, letting his essence react before consciousness could interfere. He knew he would need this state of grace to face Black Frieza, and he kept alive in his mind the promise made at the end of the Tournament of Power. At the close of the Tournament of Power, Frieza had said with a sadistic voice that he would remain evil until the end of time, shattering any expectation of redemption. Goku then, with a firm gaze and a voice full of conviction, promised to stop him once and for all, no matter the cost. It was a brief moment, but loaded with cosmic tension. Two extremes of morality and power clashed in words as sharp as blades. The audience of the universes fell silent, aware that that promise would change both their stories. After the tournament, Goku held onto every syllable as a pact with justice itself, knowing that when Frieza returned, he would have to honor his word, whatever the price. Since the end of the Tournament of Power, Goku hasn't stood still. He knew peace was temporary and that adversaries like Frieza never stay quiet for long. Alongside Whis and Beerus, Goku trained intensely, seeking ways to fully master Ultra Instinct. It was no longer enough to access it in moments of emergency. He needed control, stability, and understanding. But what Goku didn't expect was that the key to evolving his technique was right in front of him. In Broly's untamed fury, training with Broly was something Goku would never forget. That raw, wild power, completely given over to rage and instinct, was unlike anything he had ever faced. Observing Broly's berserker mode, Goku began to understand that there could be a symbiosis between that emotional explosion and the perfect serenity of Ultra Instinct. If he could balance these two forces, the calm of an angel and the fury of a Saiyan, he could reach a new form, the Saiyan Ultra Instinct. It took much more than physical strength. Goku dove into a deep level of self-awareness. Between meditations with Whis, combat sessions with Vegeta, and power exchanges with Broly, Goku gradually molded this new version of himself. And when he finally achieved that balance, something changed. His aura was no longer just silver and ethereal. It had a flaming, living energy, almost wild, yet perfectly controlled. His eyes, once serene, now also carried the fierce determination of a Saiyan warrior. He was ready, and this was also due to the fact that Goku had fought against his son Gohan, and upon being stopped by him, the Ultra Instinct shattered. In that moment, he saw something, and when he understands something, he just stops and restarts. It's always been like that. The bastard is truly a genius. The process of assimilating Broly's berserker rage into the core of Ultra Instinct was one of the greatest challenges for Goku. In the icy silence of the temple, he submitted himself to visions simulated by Whis, reliving memories of battles that tested his sanity and forging a union between his determination and Broly's unconscious fury. With each mental attack, he absorbed the pain and despair, embracing the raw strength without losing the essential tranquility of Ultra Instinct. Vegeta, impatient, doubted the need for such an extreme process, but Goku knew that hybrid state would be the key to defeating someone like Black Frieza. At the peak of that mystical training, Goku released a silent scream that tinted his silver aura with a somber green, an unmistakable sign of the union between divinity and wild instinct. Ever since Goku and Vegeta were humiliated by Frieza, he had already been trying to figure out what he could do to become stronger. But when he's out of ideas, the screens and the manga itself hide Goku. That's when we don't see him that he develops. Unlike in Dragon Ball Z, when we would at least see parts of his training, nowadays he hides and comes back with powers like Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, Super Saiyan 4 shown in Dragon Ball Daima, and also Super Saiyan 3. And yes, after the fight against Gohan, and during the current hiatus, something new from Goku is definitely coming. Since the first encounter on Namekusei, when Goku arrived on the planet to face the Ginyu Force, and later Frieza, The two have built a rivalry that shaped the Dragon Ball universe. It was there that Goku, facing Frieza's brutality in killing Krillin, awakened the legendary Super Saiyan for the first time. That fight marked not only the breaking of Saiyan limits, but also the birth of a silent promise. Goku would never allow someone like Frieza to remain free if he posed a threat to the balance of the universe. Goku has always carried within him the pure essence of a warrior. His greatest asset is his ability to constantly evolve, to break through barriers, and to absorb the unexpected. From his training with Master Roshi to his present days alongside Whis, Beerus, and Broly, he has assimilated styles, techniques, and combat philosophies, transforming himself into one of the most formidable beings in existence. His strength goes beyond the physical. It lies in his relentless determination, his will to protect others, and his ability to fight not out of hatred, but for the sake of surpassing himself. He masters the Kamehameha, the Spirit Bomb, the Kaioken, Instant Transmission, Ultra Instinct, and now his own version, the Saiyan Ultra Instinct. A perfect fusion between angelic serenity and Saiyan blood fury, something only he could achieve. But not everything in Goku is an unbreakable virtue. His naivety often ruins everything. He offers mercy where he shouldn't, gives chances to dangerous enemies, and sometimes, in his thirst for a good fight, forgets the risks that poses to those around him. This obsession with fighting has made him both a hero and a risk, for he prefers to test his opponent's limits rather than defeat them outright. Still, even in his mistakes, there is an incomparable nobility. He fights to become stronger not for glory, but because he believes there is always more to learn. Frieza, on the other hand, represents the opposite of Goku in almost every aspect. He is calculating, cold, strategic, and wields power through control, not improvement. Since his first appearance, he has shown himself to be a tyrant of immense power, capable of destroying planets with a finger. Frieza didn't train, his power was innate, and even when he was defeated, even when he was killed, he always came back, first in his golden form, later as a circumstantial ally in the Tournament of Power, and finally as Black Frieza, more threatening than ever. His physical strength is terrifying, but what makes him truly dangerous is his cruel intelligence. He manipulates allies, lies easily, and destroys with precision. Unlike Goku, he does not hesitate, does not forgive, and sees no value in compassion. However, his arrogance is also his downfall. Frieza underestimates his enemies, especially the Saiyans, whom he hates with irrational fervor. This obsession has already cost him victory more than once, and even with all his power, Frieza has never understood why Goku keeps winning. He gets angry easily, loses focus in rage, and fights more for vanity than purpose. And although he is feared, Frieza has no true allies. All follow him out of fear, which makes him vulnerable to betrayal and the loneliness that inevitably surrounds him. Over the years, the rivalry between Goku and Frieza has evolved, but never disappeared. On Namekusei Eye, Goku won for the first time. Later, Frieza returned and nearly destroyed Earth, but was defeated by his own impatience. In the Tournament of Power, they fought side by side, and Frieza had the chance to closely observe the essence of the man he hated so much. But the promise Goku made that day, that if Frieza returned to evil, he would stop him, hung in the air like a silent sword. And when Frieza returned as Black Frieza with a new plan, to kill Beerus and become the next god of destruction, that moment finally arrived. Frieza wanted more than power. He wanted absolute authority, divine permission to destroy worlds with total freedom. And in telling Goku this, provoking him, he knew he was starting the final confrontation. What Frieza didn't imagine was how much Goku had changed. Training with Whis, absorbing Broly's furious impulses, and the deep teachings of Beerus, Goku had created a new state. His Saiyan Ultra instinct wasn't just power. It was balance between fury and peace, between emotion and emptiness. He became something Frieza could never understand. A complete warrior, strong inside and out. And so, with everything on the table, past, promises, evolution, and destiny, Goku faced Frieza for the last time. The battle was cataclysmic, intense, but it wasn't just a contest of strength. It was the end of a rivalry between two extremes, absolute hatred versus the will to protect. And this time, Goku didn't hesitate. He remembered the promise, the pain caused by Frieza throughout the ages, and the responsibility he carried. And when he finally delivered the blow that ended the threat, Goku didn't celebrate. He simply fulfilled what he always knew he would have to do, because Goku is strength, but he is also duty. And Frieza, finally, met his end at the hands of the one who always tried to spare him, but who this time could no longer forgive.